Good afternoon and welcome to Soundbites. I'm Chris Smith, a partner in the personal injury team at Stewarts, and it's my pleasure to be joined today by Kate Cropper, who is a music therapist and the referrals manager at Chroma. Kate qualified in 2003 and has extensive experience in working with children who have significant behavioural difficulties and has been working as a neurologic music therapist in neuro rehab settings and with individual clients for a number of years now. So, as many of you know, we've only got 15 minutes, so we've got a lot to cover. So, welcome, Kate, and I think we'll just get started.
Great.
So, Kate, could you give us a brief overview of what neurologic music therapy is for the people out there watching and listening that haven't come across it before?
Yeah, for sure. So the protected title is a music therapist. So music therapists in the UK, we've been around since the early 1960s. And music therapy is a psychologically based intervention in the UK. So it addresses emotional, social, psychological, cognitive, and communication needs. And neurologic music therapy is a specific branch of music therapy. So it's an evidence-based treatment system. So it's developed in the US. It's very much part of the medical model over there. And it addresses more functional goals. So the difference with neurologic music therapy, so it's a separate training. So you're trained as a neurologic music therapist. And it's basically a system of 20 standardized techniques that have been developed through neuro research and neuroscientific research into the effect of music on the brain and the particular properties of music on the brain, whether that's rhythm or dynamic or timbre or tempo, whatever part of music that might be. And then these techniques have been developed to kind of work with the impact it has on the brain. And the overarching goal of neurologic music therapy is to basically apply those techniques to affect non-musical outcomes.
Okay.
It might be that you use the properties of rhythm to enhance or rehabilitate gait, or you might use melody in terms of treating people with aphasia. So that's in a nutshell what neurologic music therapy is.
Yeah, I think I've seen it used most recently with some of my clients where they've been helping with rhythm when they've been trying to get them back into walking, and I've seen it used in the hydrotherapy pool.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going off piste already. Do you know how many roughly neurologic music therapists there are in the UK at the moment? I'm guessing it's not a huge profession.
No, we're quite a scarce resource. So there's about 700 music therapists practicing in the UK, I think, at the moment, according to the BAMT. And I think about 124 of them are registered as neurologic music therapists. So we're quite a niche offer.
Yeah. And why would you use music therapists as a part of a therapy team?
For all sorts of reasons, really. It could be because somebody is particularly motivated by music. So that the sort of the key message is that you don't have to be musical. You don't have to have a musical talent to access music therapy or neurologic music therapy, but it can be absolutely a motivator. So for clients that may have plateaued or who are finding their physiotherapy extremely frustrating or certain exercises, and just not being able to engage in a way that is helping them to meet their potential. Neurologic music therapy works alongside the existing MDT. So we work alongside physiotherapists, we work alongside speech and language therapists and OTs and neuropsychs to sort of work together on outcomes. We kind of approach it from a slightly different angle. So in that concept of gait, there are so many exercises that our expert physios would put into place for a client to do to be able to either improve their fluidity of gait or their walking speed, And what a music therapist can do, or a neurologic music therapist specifically, is work with the properties of rhythm, which helps entrainment. So in terms of synchronizing the body and the neuroreceptors in the spine to a rhythm, to a rhythmic pulse, to help scaffold the movement of gait. So we would work very much alongside, so that the physio may put together the exercises because that's their area of expertise, and then we would transform those exercises, as it were, into a musical exercise, to still then the outcome being the non-musical aim, which is to increase walking speed or to increase fluidity of walking.
Yeah. So you're very much complementing and working with the rest of a therapy team rather than working as a standalone therapist.
Yeah, it's when it works best. I mean, we can absolutely work standalone depending on the referral aims. So we find often, because our key training is within the psychological therapies, the sort of psychodynamic kind of approach, that working with frustration or with changes in behaviours, or helping people to reach a stage of more acceptance about perhaps where they are now, or working with the family around that alongside functional goals, is something that the music therapist can be very well placed to do. So, you know, that can be part of a bigger team, or we do often, we're often commissioned to work standalone as well, but always with, you know, that communication that helps with that holistic view of a client.
And how have perceptions around music therapy and neurologic music therapy changed in recent years?
Hugely, I think. I've obviously been qualified for a long time, and I had to battle a lot against that view as a music therapist of being sort of slightly scarf waving and healing with the power of a tambourine. And I'm very pleased to say that that is not the case. And it's through sort of the work of Karina Michael Tout, who are the neurologic music therapy founders, about Chroma, other places such as Chiltern Music Therapy, around really professionalizing the profession. So a real focus on outcomes. That's where neurologic music therapy really has its strength. It's based in scientific research. The papers are out there, you know, the research is behind it. And that's becoming more and more common within the creative arts therapies, where they struggled a little bit to start with. So that's music therapy, art therapy, drama therapy, that kind of realization in the profession that these things have to be measured and outcomes have to be shown and proved, which we're all much better at, I think, nowadays than in the past, when circumstantial or observational that kind of standpoint was enough, because it can be quite powerful. So that's certainly why I trained as a music therapist, is because I actually saw the impact of it. And you know, that's very, very powerful, but it doesn't necessarily get funding. So to be able to have very standardized approaches, such as in neurologic music therapy, where you use a standardized measure, a standardized outcomes measure, you measure at the beginning of an intervention and at the end of an intervention, whether that's in one session, over 4 or over 12 sessions, and you can show progress.
Yeah.
I think it's
I think I certainly noticed when neurologic music therapy started cropping up in my caseload more, there was certainly initially a skepticism around it from the litigation teams, and sometimes from the rehab teams as well, where they hadn't had experience of NMT before.
yeah.
How is it now being incorporated into rehabilitation and legal claims?
I think it's the more common offer. I think a presence and people talking about it is obviously, people are suddenly thinking, oh, what's that? I've not heard of that. And it creates an interest. And the sort of the different packages that can be put in place. So whether that's a 4-session therapy planning kind of period of time, where you can go in for a short period of time, set goals and show some outcomes even over a very short period, can often convince a team that this is a worthwhile intervention. Yes, I'm not sure if I really answered your question very well there, Chris.
And in terms of litigation, so have you been involved in expert witness work for neurologic music therapy, and is that something that's developing now?
It is absolutely, yes. So we started to get probably in the last 2 or 3 years, solicitors approaching us around whether we do expert witness work. So I head up our expert witness service now, which is the response to those inquiries that we've had. And again, that professionalism of what we do and what we can offer to a client as they navigate their neuro rehabilitation, working around quantum. So it's often, cases are liability has been admitted, and then it's that kind of working out what music therapy needs might be relevant going forward and what outcomes can be expected from that. And it's that sort of idea that music therapy, it works to the I won't say dysfunction, but it works to the issues rather than to a diagnosis as a whole. So it's that how we use music can change over time with a client. So it might be around gait to start with. It might be around psychological adjustment as somebody gets used to their new way of being, and how to work with that, with frustration or anger, with people that can't express themselves as they used to, finding a different way to do that. So it can sort of work in different ways, be targeted in different ways, depending on where the client is in their sort of journey, as it were.
And is music therapy something that is potentially a lifelong recommendation for clients, or is it something that might be kind of a goal specific intervention?
Yeah. We like to think of it as a goal-specific intervention. I don't think anybody wants lifelong therapy of any sort. And our goal very much is to come in to help meet a need, to work with strengths, to perhaps offer some training to care staff, care teams, and then that can be taken on. So we will often do 12 sessions of work, and then that's it. We might do 12 sessions of work every year, so just 12 sessions, and then we'll come out, and then we might come in again. So it depends on the client, but we don't want to create dependence. What we want to do is come in, meet a client's potential where they are, and then be able to come away again.
Yeah.
Leave them to then progress in their own time.
No, well, that's been really interesting. And would you believe it? We've hit our 15 minutes already.
Goodness.
And I think that's been a really, really great insight into the developments of NMT over the last decade or so, and the kind of understanding and acceptance perhaps in terms of being incorporated into rehab packages and ultimately into compensation claims as well. So thanks for your time this afternoon, Kate.
Thank you.
And I'm sure if anyone has any questions, they will either reach out to us at Stewarts or reach out to you directly.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.